Hello, my name is Colin Drewis, and this video is about bringing more efficient electricity into Stehekin, Washington. This presentation is from my microeconomics class. Stehekin is located at the westernmost point on Lake Chelan. It is surrounded by the towering Cascade Mountains and is close to peaks like McGregor Mountain and Glacier Peak, one of the 5 active volcanoes in Washington state. Just located north of the town is North Cascades National Park, one of the 3 national parks in the state. Just west of the town is the Pacific Crest Trail, a trail over 2,000 miles that spans through Washington, Oregon, and California. This trail brings in thousands of visitors each month in the spring and summer seasons, making Stehekin a popular layover town for thru hikers. This only makes up a percentage of the people that resonate in this town. There are around 100 residents who live here full time. These families have been here since the creation of the town, which it was made up of farmers, miners, and homesteaders. These are also visitors coming in on boats from Lake Chelan. Some locations in the town are the local bakery, the North Cascades Lodge, and a schoolhouse. With all that is going on, it is clear that this town requires a lot of electricity to run everything. The issue is that Stehekin has very little power to distribute. This first picture I have to show is one that I took myself and edited when I went to Stehekin in August of 2023. It is a view of the westernmost point of the lake before it becomes a stream again. You can see a dock and some lake cabins across the water. Next is a picture of the North Cascades Lodge. In here is the general store and restaurant. Just to the right of the building is the visitor center where you can go in to learn about Stehekin and Lake Chelan. The third picture is a trail map of the Stehekin area. It shows some smaller trails leading out of the town. It also shows the PCT, which continues north to Canada and south to Glacier Peak. This map also gives some locations of where certain things are, like the lodge, campsites, and North Cascades National Park. It is no surprise that the people of Stehekin want a change. They want more stability with electricity. The only main producer of electricity is the hydropower dam, which produces an extremely lower amount of power compared to what the town needs. Direct actions need to be taken if a change will ever happen. One critical thing they need is to update the dam's production. It would also be wise to implement more battery storage systems to hold electricity in case of power outages. Now, before we decide to just take out the dam and throw a shiny new one in, let us take a second to think. The dam itself can't just be shut off completely for repairs, since that's where all the electricity comes from. No dam, no power, no happy people. But with that dam still in place, externalities will continue. Externality is a side effect that primary parties do not intend to other parties. In Stehekin's case, the big externality is the decline in salmon migration into Lake Chelan. Once that dam was first put in, a negative trend for salmon population and deaths would begin to occur. So, if the town decided to move into newer types of renewable energy, this externality would cease to exist, and salmon population would grow again. Next would be how we place the new source about. Do we have large farms that are used by the community, or do we provide every single business and household with their own source? Now comes the fun part, choosing what new sources I think the town should have. One possible contender is wind power. Wind turbines can be located far away from condensed areas of people, so you wouldn't never have to see them up close. It can also be placed in areas that already house goods since it is more tall than wide. Wind is very prominent in the mountains, so there wouldn't be many days where production is non-existent. Solar power is the second option I think of. Panels can be installed on building roofs for individual use, and large solar panel farms can be created outside the town. Solar panels also require low maintenance, so they can be left alone for very long periods of time. There are several types of business structures, so it comes down to which one works best for the location and type of good being produced. With electricity, I see sole proprietorship and partnerships as two viable options for Stehekin. A sole proprietorship is a non-registered, independently run company and is responsible by that one person. Though it may not be something like an LLC, with lots of communication and compromise with the community and the National Park Services, people are going to start showing support over time. With a partnership, it is ran by two or more people. Just like a sole proprietorship, all liabilities are on themselves, but this could be done as a good first step to test out new sustainable sources. Some examples of sole proprietorships are photographers, bakers, plumbers, tutors, and personal trainers. All of these are things that can be ran by one singular person. When it comes to most partnerships, they eventually evolve into something bigger like an LLC. Companies like Apple started off with just two people, then grew into one of the biggest tech producers in the world. Then you have other companies like Warner Bros., Twitter, and eBay that were also started out as partnerships before they kept growing. Keeping it local, SCL started out as a partnership with Schweitzer and several other employees in his basement. For bringing this into Stehekin, I think that a partnership will work best for bringing in sustainable electricity as it can have multiple people working together instead of just one person calling all the shots. It will also allow for new ideas and fixes to current problems. Having property rights will be very important to these new upcoming businesses and will give them more freedom to do things how they want. To make this possible, the new business will have to bring together people from the community to hear what they have and make those compromises. This is referred to as the Coase theorem, which is essentially making compromises to ensure the best moves are being made for the economy. Many different businesses have done this in the past and has worked out perfectly for them. Even with this, there will still be some people who are still not on board with this movement of change. So, the town might provide subsidies to the people. Subsidies are grants given by the government that are given to smaller parties. Some general examples of direct subsidies are cash grants and interest fee loans. Some examples of indirect subsidies are tax breaks, insurance, and rent rebates. Let's move into something that pushes all these actions to happen faster. In most communities, people can have a choice of what goods they want and use them freely however they choose. Some are not so lucky. In Stehekin, it is no surprise that electricity is the scarce source they have. Scarcity is when a good is at limited amounts to a point where people get a small portion distributed to them for certain amounts of time. These most commonly are natural resources like water and electricity. This is a big motivator to the people to get new sustainable energy into the town so they can feel more relaxed about how much electricity they are using. It'll be important to explain to everyone what is going on and what is being discussed. People in the public will be taught on why solar/wind power is more beneficial than the hydro dam. This could be done as a small town hall meeting or a gathering with everybody in attendance. Also, in the schoolhouse, students will be taught about sustainability and how collecting renewable energy is more beneficial for the town and for the environment around them. Stehekin can also implement certain houses or businesses that get the new energy source before others to affect the social influence towards others. Some possible trade-offs that come with transitioning to a sustainable community is that not everyone is going to get what they want. This is just a side effect that happens, and everyone has to accept it. That is why the people starting up the business will use the Coase theorem to their advantage and create those compromises. This is the best way to make everyone as happy as they can.